more later on. Excellent. Many black Caribs still exist in St. Vincent and the Grenadines today, dating back to when the indigenous population intermarried with Africans. This miscegenation resulted in the creation of the Garifuna people, who regard St. Vincent and the Grenadines as their ancestral home. Now, that's a picture of who we refer to as our black Caribs, but there is a particular word in here which I need to see if you understand. Miscegenation. This miscegenation resulted in the creation of the Garifuna people. What is miscegenation? Pardon?
The mix of consanguinity.
Try again, Samuel. Let's see.
The mix of consanguinity.
The coming together, the miscegenation, exactly. So, intermarried with Africans. Africans were brought to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they were used as slaves. The whole process of taking Africans from Africa and bringing them to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other Caribbean countries as well as North America, that whole process resulted in Africans being used as slaves in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, what happens is that a number of the Africans ran away from the plantations and they intermarried with the indigenous people. And the result of the miscegenation was these people here, who we call the black Caribs, or the Garifuna. So the Garifuna regard themselves as the real Vincentians, in the sense that they resulted from the mixture of the indigenous people and the Africans. So that's the picture there. So who is this person? I mentioned him earlier. Who is he? This is our national hero, Joseph Chatelier. And you realize that he is what is his group called? He results from the mixture of the indigenous and the Africans. Therefore, he is a Garifuna. Right? He is a Garifuna. Right? So, he is our one national hero, Joseph Chatelier. And this name, Chatelier, is this English? No. What is it? It is French. It is French. And I did tell you that the Europeans who colonized St. Vincent and the Grenadines were from England and France. In fact, I should say Britain and France. What is the difference? Okay, let me put it this way. Which countries comprise Britain? Britain is made up of which countries? Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England. Those make up the United Kingdom. But we have lots of different political issues there, particularly with Ireland, okay? So Britain colonized, so that's where Chatelier. And his first name, okay, this is French, but this is English. Good. So you see how his name came about? The mixture of the English and the French. We have Joseph Chatelier. All clear? The major religion in our country, as you see, is Christianity. Haiti. Kingstown is the capital of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Kingstown, where did that name come from? From the French? English. Okay? This comes from the English. We, Vincent, we are called Vincentians, just like you are Taiwanese, we are Vincentians. You see how huge our population is? Humongous. Yes, and it's actually under that. Our entire population of our 32 islands and keys is under 110,000 people. Tiny. Now, our national anthem. We have a problem with our national anthem. I'll just read a bit and see if you, I'm just going to read 2 sections from the national anthem, and you tell me if you can see what is the problem with our national anthem. The national anthem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Look at the first verse, the first stanza. Actually, the first verse is right, it's the first line. St. Vincent, land so beautiful. Go down to the 3rd stanza and the first line. Our little sister islands are those gems, the lovely Grenadines. Do you see a problem with that? It's our national anthem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The first verse, the first line says, St. Vincent, land so beautiful. And then this stanza down here says, our little sister islands. Is there a problem there? Go ahead, Richard.
It's an anthem for St. Vincent, not for St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Hey, hold it on, Richard. I think Richard is going to be an ambassador. Okay. Richard, yes, and he's quite right. The anthem is for one country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But according to the words of the anthem, we have St. Vincent and we have sister islands, which is not true. It's one country. One of the problems with this anthem is that it was written in 1967, before St. Vincent and the Grenadines became independent in 1979, when the name St. Vincent and the Grenadines became our legal name. Okay? Our legal name since we gained independence in 1979 has been St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Prior to that, we had been referred to as St. Vincent, and there was no equivalent recognition of the Grenadines. It was just thought, well, when you say St. Vincent, you mean the Grenadines as well. That's not right. Okay? So we have to fix that anthem.
Do you need a new one?
Yes, we definitely need a new anthem. A new anthem which reflects our archipelago. About our flag. Now, when we gained independence in 1979, this was not the flag that was hoisted for our independence. Okay? We had a flag referred to, that we referred to as the breadfruit flag, in that it had as its main icon a leaf from the breadfruit tree. However, that flag was changed. And I'll read this to you and see again. Don't make Richard be the only person. See again if you can recognize why that flag with the breadfruit leaf was changed to this one. We're not able to see clearly here, but if you look over there, you'll see the blue. many islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These gems define St. Vincent and the Grenadines as the gem of the Antilles. The Antilles are our small group of islands, meaning St. Lucia, Grenada, Dominica, okay? The blue represents the sky and sea. The gold is for warmth, the bright spirit of the people, and the golden sands of the Grenadines. The green represents the lush vegetation and St. Vincent's agriculture, as well as the enduring vitality of the people. This is our flag. Why was it changed? Based on what I said to you and on what we see here. Why do you think the flag was changed from the breadfruit leaf to this flag? Go ahead, Sam.
Because the leaf just represents St. Vincent's agriculture.
Right, that's part of it. Something else that this flag does that the breadfruit leaf alone did not do. Something else.
The islands has become one country.
Exactly, exactly. And this needed to have been represented on our national flag. Okay? Now, the breadfruit leaf is important because I will come to breadfruit just now, but this flag more effectively embraces all of our people, all of our islands. Good. See? There we are. Okay? With our national flag in all the national colors in lots of different variations. Now, on our Independence Day, which is the 27th of October, on the celebration rather of our Independence Day, 27th of October, every year. This year we will be celebrating 43. 43 years of independence. This is what we wear, okay? We put on our national colors in so many different forms. Okay, so there we have it. This is actually a dance group. Well, we can see them here. These three actually are three different dance groups with our national flag and our national colors. And this is our treasured Amazona gildingi. Amazona gildingi is the national bird of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The head is white, yellow, and violet. The neck is mostly green. The body plumage is predominantly gold and brown, washed with green. The wings are variegated, and the tail green and violet blue, broadly tipped with yellow. Now, the national bird of St. Lucia. St. Lucia is one of our closest neighbors in the Caribbean, very close to us. We can actually stand at one point in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is actually called Point, and see St. Lucia very clearly. You see the cars, everything. We're that close. The national bird of St. Lucia is also a parrot. But that parrot's head, unlike ours is white. Their parrot is all hair is blue. Okay, so that's how we know the difference. So there we go. Now this is our national dish. Roasted breadfruit and fried jackfish. As I had said to Paula last evening, this breadfruit was brought to the Caribbean from the Pacific Islands. Okay, brought to St. Vincent and the Grenadines from the Pacific Islands by Captain Bligh in the 18th century. Captain Bligh was an English captain who was living in the country, and there's a little story in me I could probably pass on to you about that. But this breadfruit became a very important form of food and sustenance for the Africans and for the indigenous people, for the people who form the bulk of the population. As a result of that, today it is part of our national dish. Now, this jackfish, it's just a little fish we get all over, and it's very nice. And once you fry it dry, wonderful. Right, so it's a collage now of Explore St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, there are two things I want you to look closely. There are two things which stand out, I think, in this collage about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Two concepts which stand out in this collage. Look carefully and tell me what you see.
Green economy.
That's right. That's right, exactly. Paula is right. The green and the blue. Now, I'll tell you about that. This is our lush vegetation. Remember, I mentioned this from our flag. We are very green. Very, very green. And our ecotourism, environmental tourism, is very important, okay? So we see our trails, our waterfalls. This is looking at our volcano. We notice the blue economy here, the seascape, and I'm going to get to our festivals just now. Those two pictures are from our major festival, which is Carnival. Oh, well, Nine Mornings is indigenous to us, but Carnival is a big part of our festival. Actually, that particular young lady right there, she is one of my former students.
Wow.
Okay. Now, we're back to the main island, St. Vincent. Oya Salt Pond. The Oya Salt Pond is a beautiful ocean-fed bathing pool perched at the northern tip of the windward side of St. Vincent. Volcanic rock formations surround the pool, and reef fish and coral formations add color and life to the pool. Oya Village is the home to some of the indigenous people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Kalinago. Kalinago is another name for the G-A-R-I-F-U, Garifuna. Kalinago is another name for the Garifuna. La Soufrière volcano. Did you hear how poorly she behaved last year? Oh, our La Soufrière volcano behaved very poorly last year. She had over 32 explosive eruptions which devastated our entire country. It was horrible. Our country was covered in ash. As far as Barbados, which is 100 miles to the east of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, was also covered in ash. She did not behave well at all. Very poorly. Okay, now, La Soufrière volcano. The La Soufrière cross-country trail winds its way from sea level up to the top of the majestic La Soufrière volcano, 4,048 feet. Granite cliffs reach for the sky, giving way to sweeping valleys and deep gorges, and eventually the immense volcanic crater, which you see here. The walk to the crater is moderately difficult. For people my age, it's difficult, and takes about 2 hours uphill from the windward side. The La Soufrière cross-country trail is awash with a wide diversity of plants, bird life, and other fauna. This young lady here, who is posing at the top of La Soufrière, is actually the person who compiled this slide, okay? And guess who she is to me? She's my daughter. There she is at the top, and that's her friend right there. You'll see a bit more of her as we go further. She actually graduates this year from National Shenji University. She did her master's in, I could never remember, but it's political science or international. It's IMPIS, International Masters in Political Science. Black Point Tunnel. Now, Black Point Heritage and Recreational Park is one of the most popular recreational and historic sites on the Windward Coast. The La Soufrière volcano, most of it. You see, it sits in the middle of the island, so it's not on the, Soufrière is like the queen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. She is just humongous, and she sits at the top of the island over the whole island. So she's on the windward and she's on the leeward, okay? Now, the main feature, so I'm saying Black Point is on the windward side of the island, closer to Soufrière. Its main feature is the Black Point Tunnel, which was constructed by the British around 1815 using African slave labor. A marvel of engineering for its time, the 360-foot long tunnel has enabled easier transportation of sugar. Okay, so it was particularly dug. And then you can imagine how it was dug by the slaves in the 19th century. You think they had wonderful machinery for digging? No. Okay. Raraku Recreational Park. Raraku Recreational Park is a major beach recreation site of national importance and features 2 beaches on either side, separated by a rocky headland and a man-made pool. Okay? Coconut trees, but this looks a lot like some places in Taiwan, doesn't it?
Have you ever visited Monghu Island?
I saw pictures.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I said that. Similar. Belmont Lookout, okay? It offers a panoramic view, or it offers panoramic views into the picturesque Marigot Valley to the north and east of the island of St. Vincent. This Marigot Valley is where we get most of our food from, okay? It's very rich in agriculture, very important to our survival. Indian Bay Beach. I spent a lot of time in my growing up on this beach. As a matter of fact, I'm a Girl Guide, and as a Brownie. Is anyone here in the Girl Guide movement? No, you all have Girl Scouts. You have Girl Scouts? I've seen Girl Scouts. Anyway, I had done my swimmer's badge as a little Brownie and on this beach. You know, you do different badges, so I was interested in swimming on this beach. Very popular beach, Indian Bay Beach. Kingstown. Now, Kingstown is our capital city of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a major port city, and it's known as the city of arches. Here is why. This is our Parliament building, okay? See all the arches. This is our administrative complex there. They have maintained the arches. And she should have put more pictures, but if you look around, you will see that a lot of our architecture incorporates arches. Okay? That's the port right there. See our little town. It's the market square. Fort Charlotte. Now, Fort Charlotte is an historic fort with spectacular views overlooking Kingstown. It is located to the west of Kingstown and perched at 6 600 feet overlooking the bay. The very interesting thing about our fort, so it was constructed in the 19th century, 1806, but the cannons are pointed inland, not out to sea to protect the island from invaders coming in by sea. The cannons were pointed inland. Think about that. Why would they be pointed inland? They're supposed to protect from invaders. Okay? That's why you have the cannons there to make sure. Because remember I said to you, the English and the French, different Europeans are fighting for the country. So the cannons should have been there to ward them off. But our cannons are pointed inland. Who were they heading for? Yes. Who did the British and the French have to fight in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Exactly. Yeah. They fought the Garifuna. Okay? The British, but the fort was established by the British, as we see here, in 1806, and the cannons were mostly pointed inland to defend the colonizers against the indigenous people, the Kalinago. It's very unusual, but that's our reality. So who is this young lady again? Yes, that is she. That is my daughter again. Posing at the fort. Okay. She models, and I'll tell you why. Okay. The Botanic Gardens. Now, the Botanic Gardens are one of the most important and popular sites in St. Vincent, meaning on the mainland. They are the oldest botanical gardens, in the Western Hemisphere, established in 1765. Now, our own President, Tsai Ing-wen, visited these gardens. She visited them last when she was in St. Vincent in 2019. And this young man here, Mr. Shallow, he was trained right here in Taiwan, and he is the curator of the gardens. He is in charge of the gardens. So this is why President Tsai is here posing with him at the gardens. He is responsible for the gardens. Vermont Nature Trail. You see our green heritage, right? Our Vermont Nature Trail, as I say. The fact that our country is so green is extremely important to me. So that's our green heritage. Now the Layu petroglyphs. The Layu petroglyphs. The park holds some ancient Amerindian petroglyphs on large boulders likely to date from the Salai, meaning the Arawak period of initial settlement around 300 to 600 AD. What do these are the petroglyphs, but what are they? What are they indicative of? What do they mean? And not what they mean is, but what are they indicative of? What do they tell of? You know, but you're just thinking you can't express it in the right way.
Prediction,
Signs. It's the way that, let's hear you.
How the
Matthew, it's Matthew, right?
Yeah.
Right.
How the people lived there, what their lifestyle was.
Yes, that's how they recorded.
Okay.
We record like this, okay? They recorded like that, Heritage Park. Now, this heritage park sits on the Wallaby River on the leeward coast of St. Vincent near Wallaby Bay and the site of the film Pirates of the Caribbean. This is where Pirates of the Caribbean was filmed. The park was at one time a plantation, and this is the remnant of the plantation house that was there with the different, there are two arches where the river runs through. So, who is this from Pirates of the Caribbean? Oh yeah. And who's the young lady again? Everybody remembers Johnny Depp, but they can't remember her name. Okay? Yes, but there they are on one of the booth. Well, that's my posing girl again, okay? Greatest poser. Anyway, Darkview Falls, right? We have wonderful waterfalls. Wonderful waterfalls. And this particular one, we have two, and she says Darkview Falls are two spectacular waterfalls, one above the other, cascaded down high cliff faces and plunging into natural pools. There is a short and easy hike to the falls through rainforest and across the Richmond River via either a bamboo bridge or conventional bridge. This is our bamboo bridge right here. Okay? Beckway. Beckway is the largest of the Grenadine Islands. It's compact 7 square miles with about 5,000, that's the entire population, 5,000 warm and friendly inhabitants eager to meet visitors. So that's how beautiful Beckway. We get to Beckway very easily. It's just under an hour on a slow ferry. You can get to Beckway very easily. So, for instance, the school that I was principal on, a number of my students traveled every day from Beckway to St. Vincent. Came up on mornings, went down on evenings. It's that close.
By boat?
Yes. Fort Hamilton. Fort Hamilton, the ruins of Fort Hamilton rather, are located in Port Elizabeth on the island of Beckway, at the northern end of Admiralty Bay, essentially a cannon battery and lookout. The fort was constructed by the British in the 1700s. What century is the 1700s? What century is it?
18th century.
There we go. Now, why do you think we have Fort Hamilton on, when you think of a fort, as we say, it's a battery. Why was there a cannon battery on Beckway? And look at the cannons, okay? The cannon battery. Why was there a cannon battery on Beckway? What was happening at that time in the 18th century? Between whom?
French and English.
French and English fighting for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Okay, so the cannons are there, boof, 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 you know, lots of stuff. And this is where the whole notion of the pirates came in. Pirates of the Caribbean, because you remember the pirates were in the center of the European fight for territory. That's how the pirates got into the mix, to try to loot and plunder and take what they could as well. Princess Margaret Beach. Now, one of Beckway's quietest and most beautiful beaches could be more convenient to visit. The unspoiled stretch of sand is named after the late Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret of England, who visited the beach and often swam there. As a matter of fact, you'll see something else later. She actually had a house. She lived on Mustique. Oh, there we are. During the 1700s, Mustique was heavily defended against the possibility of French invaders. Elizabeth II is the Queen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines up to now. And her late husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, made private visits to Mustique very often, in different years. Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, and Catherine, Duke of Cambridge, holiday in Mustique often. Indeed, the late Princess Margaret owned a house in Mustique, the island of the rich and famous. There are lots of celebrities who own these mansions in Mustique. Okay? Tommy Hilfiger, lots of celebrities. Canawan. Canawan is even more exclusive than Mustique to a certain extent. It's much smaller and the land space is more expensive. Known as the island of turquoise, Canawan is 5 square miles of lush tropical rolling hills and is home to the Caribbean's largest natural coral barrier reef. Okay? The largest natural coral barrier reef is found on Canawan. You realize that Bequia and Canawan are the Grenadine Islands. Okay? Tobago Keys, Marine Park. Imagine an intimate, this is so beautiful, I really love going to this area. This is the Tobago Keys, there are 9 of them. Uninhabited, they can't be inhabited, they're just that big. But it's really wonderful, it's full of green turtles, coral reefs, colorful fish, crystal clear water. It's just an ideal, wonderful paradise. That's my lady again, no longer little girl. And her friends were also students of mine at the girls' high school. She, like them, entered GHS in 2004 and they graduated in 2009. That's Aisha and Danny. Union Island. That's another of our Grenadine Islands. Okay. This is a wee bit bigger, 9 square kilometers, and lies 200 kilometers west-southwest of Barbados. You see this little island here? It's called Happy Island, and it's made from conch shells. It's a man-made island, conch shells. And that's all it is. It's a bar. This whole island is a bar. It's called Happy Island. That's it. Okay. Experience St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, I did tell you who compiled. Now, this is Vincimas. This is our carnival celebration, which after not having, we weren't able to have carnival for the last 2 years. So Vincimas is back on this year again. Of course, they're fighting with COVID still, but they're insisting. And these are different scenes from what takes place in our carnival, Vincimas. Here is a former carnival queen, Miss SVG here. Her name is Nikiana, yes. And that's another one there. These will be queens of the festival. They will compete in different categories and they will emerge, you know, somehow they will. Just another one of my students there. That's the steel band. That's the Calypso Monarch, the one we know, sing Calypso. That blue band down there is on Juve morning, they paint themselves, all various colors, and they simply have a ball. That's Stephen again, and I do enjoy carnival myself. It's just lots of festivity, lots of dancing, just, you know, really lovely.
Just 1 day or 3 days.
Now guess what? Our Vincimas lasts for 10 days.
Wow.
10 days. But it's not 10 days on the road like that, right? The days on the road, actually 2 days on the road, but the days leading up to those 2 days on the road, we have what we call fetes, exclusive fetes. All inclusive fetes at different locations, lots of competitions. You know, there's a whole lot of
Games and drinks.
Oh.
Games and drinks. On the road, right?
oh yes, it's a wonderful time. I very much miss it, and yeah, good. So, do you recognize anyone in this picture?
Your daughter.
Yes.
But as we know, you got a boy, right?
Where is she?
Miss SPG.
That's
Wow.
right. Good. She was Miss SPG 2014. Okay? So that's what I'm telling you. She likes to pose. She likes to take pictures. Anyway, so there she is, 2014. We have different scenes from Carnival. Again, this is a steel band, as we know. There's another of my students there. These are different Carnival costumes from the period, and it's a really wonderful time. All right? And it's called Vincimas. That is the official title of St. Vincent the Grenadines' Carnival, Vincimas.
I'm sorry, the MAS means Christmas?
No.
No.
It's the short for masquerade.
Okay.
MASQUERADE.
Yeah.
Masquerade.
Makeup.
Exactly.
Wow.
This is the masquerade.
Yeah.
That's the masquerade. That's the masquerade.
masquerade.
That's the masquerade. Okay? So Vinci is the short for St. Vincent. Okay? Specifically the short for Vincentian. Right? So it's Vinci Mas.
So we should have the Gomas.
That's right. Right? So we have the masquerade. Right. Okay. So as I said, for Shaz, her name is Shalisha, on her Shaz. That year, 2014, when she entered the Miss SPG competition, very, very stressful.
Yeah.
Very stressful. Okay. But I remember when she said she wants to enter the competition. No? She really wants it. I said, if you enter, you have to win.
Wow.
Okay? You have to win. Because it's so stressful and they go through so much. And I know that if she had not won, it would have been terrible. For me, it would have been terrible for her. So, thank goodness she did win. Okay? And Vincimas is the biggest festival in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Promoted as the hottest carnival in the Caribbean, the carnival starts in the middle of June, culminating on a Monday and Tuesday at the start of July. Attracting thousands of visitors, Vincimas is a colorful and vibrant celebration of music, dance, and Vincentian heritage. Towns come alive with street parties, calypso and steel pan performances, costume parades, all-inclusive fetes, and much more. Okay, it's a great tour.